Lower it down a little bit. Lower your tool down a little bit because I can't see. Yeah, I'm going to do my demo. So let's not interrupt me just so that when you guys go back to watch the demo, you don't have to watch me and listen to me critique someone, okay? So we're going to do our center back sections now. Hopefully I can show you this and still be able to do it. So now we're going to work on number 4, okay, which is right here in the center, okay, center back. Okay, so it's going to be this one right back here. Okay, so I'm going to connect what I did in the front, and I'm going to bring it down toward the back. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. So the important thing is to connect. So make sure you have good connection from front to back. And you want to make sure that you keep a straight line. And this is the hardest part of this, is to make a straight line going down the back of the head. And so you just do that by using your tool to make sure that you stay in line. Okay, and so this one, you should get it. You're going to take it. Ooh. I'm struggling today with this back one. So what you're going to do is, once you get it, that's better. And then you're going to take it, you take your tool, and you're going to measure it up, same as you did in the front. You're going to make your section right here. And this one is important because this one is going to help you do our next sectioning, which is going to be our double halo. Okay. That's better. So just like the first one set up for the sides, this one in the front sets up for this back section. This one's going to set up for going down the back of the head. So you really want to make sure that you are good to go. So I'm measuring my section. Just take a tiny bit, give a little bit more hair, just a little bit, even it out. And some dolls are easier to section than others. So you just have to work with the hair plugs that it has and do your best to create a straight line. Not always going to be perfect, but as long as you can get pretty close. So then measure both sides. You want to keep it as balanced as possible. And then to check it, you have your tool, but also tie it all up, get all the hair under control, no little pieces left out. And then that way you can really look at it, okay? Sometimes it's difficult when you don't have a mirror, and so it's a little bit tricky, okay? So that's what you're going to do your next one. Now I can see I'm going off a little bit off to the side, a little bit on this one, okay? But that's kind of how it was in the front. So, and what happens is you follow your line. Whatever you have in the front is just what dictates what you're going to have in the back, okay? So I'm going to have to be mindful that I don't continue to go sideways, okay? It's kind of what it's doing. So I'm going to just fix it a little bit, straighten it out just a tiny bit. Remember, don't overcorrect. You're better off to just take a little bit at a time. That's better. Take a little bit at a time. That's just taking too much. Because when you take too much, the frustration starts to kick in, and you don't want that. Okay. Okay. So now I'm turning around for you guys again. Okay. See, that looks better. A little bit more balanced. Okay. So now you're going to make your next one. So remember, we talked about it being a basic 9, but really it's a 10, right? So 10 sections. So this was 4. Now you're going to make one more down the center of the head. You're not going to go all the way down. You're going to go like to the occipital bone. Okay. So you want to connect those really good. Keep that same width, side to side. Okay, see that? Okay, and then you just have to kind of move the hair out the way. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that this section is not too low, but below the top of the ear. Can you all see me doing that? So below the top of the ear, because can you see that I'm on a little bit of a diagonal? Okay, it's not going straight back, a little bit going diagonal down. Okay, so diagonal down, and that's where you're going to put your next section. And the reason being is that you want to try to create a smiley face. Okay, a smiley face back here in the back. Okay, so move the hair out the way so you can see the ear. Make sure, and it's kind of a guesstimate at first. Guesstimate where you think your line should go. And then you can attach this. You can put it together. You know, you can do it up if you want to, just gently. And I'm saying gently because you have to check the sides again. So this will be like a messy clip up. Okay, messy clip up. I'm starting to get too loosey here.
Miss Knowles, could I ask a quick question?
Okay, hold 1 second. 1 second. Then I'll answer your question. Because I want you to see here, make sure you're below so that you get a little bit of a smiley face. So I could have been just a tiny bit lower probably. Okay, yes, what's your question?
Like if you in real life, somebody wanted you to perm their hair, like would you like section it this way, or is this just like for people who are learning?
You could section this way. And the reason why this is a good way to section is because you won't have your rods or your hair over directed. or you won't put too much. This is kind of a grid so that the rods will fit onto the head really nicely.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Now don't get me wrong. There's other ways. There's brick lace. There's different ways that you can section someone's hair for a perm. But this way is a good jumping off point, because from this you can do anything. Like for example, if you want to do an advanced perm or a specialty perm, you would start with the basic 9, and then from there you would do your specialty perm. Okay, so this is really important.
Victoria, I want to say too that I've recently still done some perms for people, and if I'm doing a basic sectioning, I still do the sectioning. It gives me control. It's so much faster than having to keep going back to your section to fit the rods in. It just gives you so much control over what you're doing.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to connect your sides. Seem like I'm a little bit, doesn't look like it, but I seem like I'm a little bit wide. So let's see what happens. So I want to connect.
Sorry, can you just like turn the doll a little bit?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't really see the back. Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay. So I did the back section. So this is the one, remember, right above the occipital bone. Now I'm trying to connect this one. Okay. So then when you connect your side, just let me know if you can't see well. When you connect the side, you want to connect from your last section that you did right behind the ear, and you connect these two. It's kind of like connecting the dots. Okay. So connect these dots. I'm feeling like I'm a little bit almost too wide. I'm very almost too wide. Not quite, but almost. Can you see? It's just very slightly, instead of like being the size of the little lines I had you guys create, I'm like the size of the exact tool. Okay. And so then I have to look back here. Well, can I use some? Can I take some from here? So I could take a tiny little bit from this section. I can take some from this section and give it to this one. And this one I call robbing Peter to pay Paul. Just very slightly. I won't overcorrect, but I'll just take a little bit from here and give it to the center. Because what's going to happen if I give too much? This is going to be too big, right? And then this is not going to work. So I'm just going to take a little bit from here, give it to the center. And then worst come to worst, I can give a little bit to the front. Okay? Does that make sense? So this is what's going to happen every time. Everybody has different size head. Everybody is going to have a different width from behind the ears. And so you have to be able to compensate a bit. Okay. So when I do this, I want you to see when I do correct, I'm not going to overcorrect. I'm just going to take a little bit. Okay. Just that small amount of hair, hopefully will be enough. So I can make my correction. Okay. That's better. So you see, I didn't go all the way to connect the dot. So if you left out a tiny little bit, I wouldn't be mad at that. But if you can go ahead and connect it all the way, it just looks better. Okay. And some people are real stickler for this. I really don't care so much about that, but some people do care. So if you have an instructor who is teaching you and they say, I want you to connect that dot, go ahead and connect the dot. Okay. Okay, so now I got to do it on this side. So it's going to be a totally different ball game on this side, right? Depending on what happened in the center, okay? Because whatever I did in the front or the center is going to affect the side, okay? Can you all see? Is that a good shaping? I mean, good way you guys can see? Ball's killing me. Oh, Lucy, Lucy. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to connect the dots and see how this is a little bit, this hair is a little bit puffy, so you can't see as well. So I wanted to make it nice and tight so you can see your sections, because without being able to see your sections, you're not going to make good connection. Okay, so remember I wanted that 45-degree angle, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for on this side. I'm going to create that 45 just ever so slightly so I can get that smiley face to happen. Okay, so I'm connecting from one section to the front. Okay, that makes sense. And so now I use my tool and see if it lines up. So the same on the other side, just slightly, but I think this one might be okay. But it's just slightly the same size as the tool versus being slightly less than the tool. Okay, but my only concern is I have to go back here and see if it will allow me to give some. No, I can't. Okay, so I'm full up there. Now I'm full up here. So I'm just gonna leave it. Okay. Now if I wanted to, I could go back and come behind the ear a tiny little bit, and I think I will. So what I mean by that is, so section this hair out the way. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna come back behind the ear. Remember the 1 finger rule? So 1 finger's width, so I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna give a little bit to the front. I don't wanna overcorrect. I might have overcorrected. I don't wanna overcorrect. Yes, to me it's overcorrected. I just want a tiny bit. There. Okay, so I'm not making my front too big. I'm not going down and making that C start to happen here. Okay, but I got enough to where when I get ready to if I like that. Kind of changed my mind a tiny little bit, just a couple little holes. That's better. Okay, so then I just need to clean this one up. Nice clean subpart so you can see well where you're going. Okay, clean this one up so we can see it well. Any questions so far?
I have a quick question, Miss Knowles. How?
Yeah.
What made you? So we have to like going down that section. Do we?
This one?
What made you stop? Yeah. So you know how it's going down, that
Mhm.
line going down. What made you stop at that bottom? Is that?
Remember we talked about it was going to be below the ear, slightly below the ear, so I can get that 45. And then also it's going to be like kind of like right around the occipital bone.
Okay.
Okay.
So kind of in the middle of it.
A little below that. So if you look at your doll's ear, and you put your finger on top of the ear, and you
Mm-hmm.
angle down, kind of like at a 45-degree angle, you're going to get close to where you want it to be.
Okay.
We have to just pretend that they have an occipital bone. Feel your bone back there. Your occipital bone you have back there. Can you
Mm-hmm.
feel it?
Yeah.
That's where you're trying to aim at, like tiny bit above that. Because if you go too low, you've seen people like do a perm, I don't know if you have, but you see
Is the screen black for you guys? Did her screen go back black for you guys? Okay.
it's I have a student trying to call me. I'm not sure what's going on. And so she's continuing to call me while I'm trying to do my demo. So I'm not sure what's going on. But I want to finish this before I address what she's got going on. Okay. Okay. So did I answer your question, Carlos? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
So I
you.
want to do, you're welcome. So I want to do this really quickly so I can answer a student's call who seems to be having an emergency, bless her. And I want to do this so you guys have done so well with the front. I'm just so impressed. So I'm continuing on doing the whole thing in the back because clearly you all can do it. Okay. So wet this down, this doll. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to connect these back too. But what's important about this is because the head rounds back here and narrows, you need to aim in a little bit. Okay. Don't go too crazy, but aim in a bit. Okay. So what I mean by that is you don't want to go just straight down. You want to aim in towards center just a little bit. And the only hard thing about this is making sure that you stay balanced from side to side. So what I mean by that is how much you left. I'm gonna show you 1 second. So how much you left underneath. So I got about 1 inch here. You want to have about 1 inch on the same on the other side. Okay, so I just twist this off. Okay, so I can check my other side. So connect, and then arrow in. And so that's a little bit more than 1 inch, just a tiny bit, but a little bit more than 1 inch. So I'm just going to take a little bit and give it to the center. So you can see my connection point is the same. All I'm doing is changing the very bottom. So I want about 1 inch, okay? Okay, then when I do my center, make it nice and tight. It should look balanced. Wind this all the way up. You don't have your end sticking out. Okay, and then you clip your other one. Find one more clip. Okay. Just one more clip. Okay. And that is our basic 9, but really basic 10. Make sure that you control that hair, those ends, so that from a distance, we can help you, okay? Because without that, we won't be able to see as well. We won't be able to critique you so that you can move forward, okay? So any questions about that? It's not too difficult, right? You guys did really well, okay? So I want you guys to pick up where you